6 months ago, David lost his best engineer. Not to a competitor. Not to a better offer. To burnout. She'd been on his team for 3 years. Consistent performer. Never complained. Always delivered. Then one day in their one-on-one, she said, "I can't do this anymore. My mom's sick. My kid's school keeps calling. And I feel like I'm failing at everything." David tried to save it. He offered her time off. Flexible hours. Whatever she needed. But she was already done. She told him, "I needed this conversation 6 months ago. Your team isn't struggling because they're weak. They're struggling because life is heavier than it's ever been. Childcare. Elder care. Mental health. Burnout. Financial pressure. AI disruption. And somehow, they're still expected to perform like nothing is happening." Let's talk about how to lead humans, not robots, in a world that keeps asking for more. After David lost her, he started paying attention. He noticed one of his designers was logging in at 11 p.m. because she was handling elder care during the day. His project manager was taking calls from his car because his kids' daycare kept closing for COVID exposures. His data analyst seemed distracted in meetings. Turns out she was managing a chronic health condition and terrified of losing her insurance. Most employees today aren't just doing their job. They're doing their job and managing a second full-time role at home. Parents are navigating childcare shortages. Adults are caring for aging parents. People are managing chronic stress, burnout, and financial instability. And leaders who ignore this reality don't just lose performance. They lose trust. David told me, "I thought I was being a good leader. I said take care of yourself and let me know if you need anything." But here's the truth most leaders don't want to admit: empathy alone isn't enough. If you're too flexible, the team loses clarity. If you're too rigid, the team loses humanity. Great leadership lives in the middle where empathy meets structure. David needed a framework. Not just feelings. Not just rules. Something that could hold both. Here's what I taught David: trust isn't built through perks or motivational speeches. Trust is built when people feel supported and held to clear expectations. Support without accountability creates chaos. Accountability without support creates fear. When you combine both, you create a team that feels safe, focused, and engaged. Support plus accountability equals trust. So here's how David rebuilt his team using this framework. Shift 1. He normalized real life. David started his next team meeting differently. Instead of jumping straight into project updates, he said, "Before we start, I want to acknowledge something. A lot of you are managing life situations that are heavy right now. If you need flexibility today, tomorrow, this week, tell me what support looks like. We'll figure it out." That's it. 30 seconds. But 3 people on his team sent him messages that afternoon asking for adjustments they'd been afraid to request. Stop pretending your team lives in a vacuum. When you name the reality, you create psychological safety instantly. Shift 2. He protected focus time. Next, David looked at his team's calendars. They were drowning in meetings. He blocked out no meeting mornings every Tuesday and Thursday. No exceptions. No quick syncs. No just 15 minutes. He told them, "This is your time to think, create, and breathe. Your team doesn't need more meetings. They need protected time to do their actual work." Shift 3. He built predictable rhythms. David also created predictability. Same one-on-one time every week. Same day for priority updates. Same format for team check-ins. Predictability reduces anxiety. When people know what to expect, they perform better. One of his team members told him, "I used to dread Mondays because I never knew what fire I'd be walking into. Now I know what my week looks like." That's the power of rhythm. Shift 4. He had capacity conversations in his one-on-ones. David stopped asking, "How's the project going?" and started asking, "What's on your plate? What needs to shift? What's blocking you?" This isn't micromanagement, tease alignment. One of his engineers said, "For the first time, I don't feel like I have to pretend I'm fine when I'm underwater." That's trust. Shift 5. He created a microculture of safety. Finally, David realized something important. Even if the broader organization is chaotic, his team could still feel grounded. He couldn't control company-wide layoffs. He couldn't control the AI rollout timeline. He couldn't control executive decisions. But he could control how his team experienced those things. He started sharing context earlier. He buffered them from unnecessary noise. He advocated for them in leadership meetings. You can build a pocket of stability inside a storm. That's what great leaders do. Now, I know some of you are thinking, "My boss won't let me do this. HR has strict policies. I don't have that kind of flexibility." I get it. You're not the CEO. You don't control everything. But here's what David learned: you have more autonomy than you think. You can protect focus time without asking permission. You can normalize real life in your one-on-ones. You can have capacity conversations without changing company policy. You're not trying to fix the entire system. You're just creating a better experience for the humans on your team. And that's within your control. 3 months later, David's team looked completely different. Turnover: 0. Engagement scores: up 40%. But here's what mattered most to David: his designer, the one logging in at 11 p.m. She started setting boundaries. She told him it was because she finally felt safe too. His project manager asked for a flexible schedule and then crushed his Q3 goals. His data analyst opened up about her health condition without violating HIPAA or FMLA stipulations, and they built accommodations that worked. People don't remember tasks. They don't remember projects. They don't remember metrics. But they will never forget the leader who made them feel safe during the hardest season of their life. That's the kind of leadership that builds loyalty, engagement, and retention. So here's how you start this week. In your next team meeting, say this: "I know a lot of you are managing things outside of work. If you need flexibility, tell me what support looks like." That's it. 15 seconds. Then in your one-on-ones, ask, "What's on your plate? What needs to shift?" You don't have to fix everything. You just have to lead with presence, clarity, and humanity. That's what makes a team strong. That's what makes a leader unforgettable. Subscribe for more content like this, content that helps you lead with clarity and humanity in a world that's constantly shifting. And comment team below if you want the full leadership playbook. Tell me, what's the hardest part of leading right now? What are you navigating? Drop it in the comments. I'm reading every single one. You're not a line item. You're the talent.